they just grabbed the guy and they just beat him, the white guy, young guy, and just beat him, and he had to go to the hospital.
From churches to restaurants, a 17-year-old Ceola Whipple spent 1965 trying to integrate Dublin alongside the NAACP.
I wanted to make a difference, and that's what they wanted to do too. So I had been marching all summer long.
Marching and leading the group in songs.
Lift every voice and sing.
That told the story of the civil rights Black Americans were fighting for.
It was a time of change in America.
And by the end of the summer, that change would make its way to Dublin City Schools.
They said, hey, you can integrate if you want to, okay? And I said, of course, I believe in being right where I'm needed.
So in the fall of '65, Ceola was mentally preparing herself to leave the all-Black Oconee High School on Dublin's south side to become the only Black student in the senior class at Dublin High School.
There were several young people, lots of young people, but they just didn't step out, either because their parents kept them back or were afraid for them, and people that were afraid for themselves, but I was never afraid for myself.
Like some of the other parents, Ceola's mother didn't like the idea of her child being one of the first students to integrate an all-white school, so Ceola didn't tell her.
I signed my mother's name on the papers. We had to fill out a form to move to transfer to Dublin High School. And I got the form to take home to Mom. I signed the form and turned it on in to the principal, and they didn't know until a while later.
According to Whipple, the rule was once you transferred out of Oconee High to integrate, you couldn't go back unless you sat out for a year. So on the second week of the new school year, Ceola Whipple and 6 other girls showed up for their first day of class at Dublin High School.
The students had been schooled as to what they can do or say to us, and so they were told to just ignore those Black kids, just ignore them. And that's what a lot of them did.
But when she wasn't being ignored, Ceola says the white students would pick on her, calling her names or pulling her hair. Their antics that almost 60 years later make her laugh.
I turned around and slapped one in the face. I don't think my teacher didn't catch me, and they didn't tell.
Ceola's choice to integrate had consequences outside of those pranks from her white peers, though. She says some people in the community also weren't a fan of her choice, throwing rotten fruit and dead animals in her family's yard. Her mom was even fired because of it.
She said, I lost my job because of you. And it made her mad. It made her mad.
But eventually, her mom would come around.
She said, you know, I'm proud of you. And that made me feel so good that she accepted my decision and what I did.
It took Ceola's mother until the end of the school year for her to say good job. It would take the city of Dublin about 6 decades to do the same.
I was just wondering what took so long for people to recognize what we had done, we 7 had done.
In December 2023, Ceola Whipple, Gwendolyn D. Johnson, Sharon N. Tucker, Betty McCrae, Sonia Ricks, Doris Kellum, and Maddie M. McGirt were all celebrated at the Dublin Honors Ball, calling the group of women the Magnificent Seven.
I don't know who came up with the idea, but I think it was wonderful.
Though it seemed to her they were almost forgotten in history, their courage lives on every day in the halls and classrooms of Dublin City Schools. Whipple says, looking back, she's proud of herself and the ladies who share her journey.
I am thankful for those people who stepped out and took a chance and saw what should be done in society and did it.
Reporting from Dublin, Brittany Miller, WGXA News.